Another initiative to promote a global culture of life is taking place at the United Nations. The Holy See Mission is sponsoring a session devoted to women and girls in Africa. Lauren Ashburn sat down earlier this month with a pro-life advocate from Africa who is on the front lines of this battle.
Obianuju Ekeocha joins us now. She is founder and president of Culture of Life Africa, where you promote African values for life. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me on.
And congratulations on your UN speech. You were there as part of the mission, the Holy See mission. As protesters and women surround the UN talking about rural women, why was it important for you to come and speak?
Now, this is an opportunity the Holy See gave us to have this panel on ideological colonization. Actually, that was the theme that the Holy See chose. You know, how rural women are able to survive and how their development is dealt with in the era of ideological colonization.
Which means that Western aid comes in and puts its values down onto the African people.
Exactly. So it was really very important for the Holy See to bring their voice to this kind of forum where it's not usual to have the voice of reason. Many times it's just women speaking about, you know, abortion rights, contraception rights, sexual and reproductive health and rights.
Family planning, right?
Family planning, the usual stuff. But the Holy See mission to the United Nations decided to come up with this theme and this topic to bring this voice onto the UN floor. So it's very important.
Tell me about women in Africa and their commitment to life. 80% of the countries have some sort of restriction on abortion.
That's right. So out of the 54 African countries, only about 4 of them have legalized abortion. Every other country in Africa now has restrictions and prohibitions. Even the 2 countries that I can count have restrictions against abortion in their own constitutions. So the African people are overwhelmingly pro-life. Even when polls have been taken, Pew Research has done polls years ago and found out some of the countries as high as 80-something%, 90-something% of the people say that they are against abortion under any circumstance.
Plus, the Catholic Church there is growing in leaps and bounds. We can't keep up with the population, and there's a priest shortage. I think it's like 200 million Catholics in Africa. But I want to ask you about Melinda Gates. She has said that it's better to provide Africans with contraception and artificial methods of birth control in order to save women's lives because they would die in childbirth. How do you think that money should be spent? Is that the right way to do it?
There is no evidence of that, actually, because there are countries in Africa that actually have a low prevalence of contraception use, who actually have very good maternal health status. Their maternal mortality rates are very low. So, and then there are other countries like Zimbabwe where the contraception usage is already very high, and yet they are failing on every indicator concerning women's health and maternal health care. So there is no evidence for what she says. And I don't believe that bringing contraception to African women, I mean, by the way, they already have contraception, but then what African women would need would be things like education. They would need access to basic health care. They would need access to food, to water. About 30% of the African population do not have access to clean drinking water, for example. And this is basic facts that everybody can have access to. But yet, they're talking about contraception more and more, and then taking attention away and distracting from real issues that affect the ordinary man, woman, and child in Africa.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your perspective.
Thank you for having me on.